Shalom, shalom, peace, peace, shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off giving all praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, to Yahweh the Father, Bahashim, coming in the name of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls him Jesus Christ, Bahashim, coming in the name of Kakodash, the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders who rule well of Great Middlestone. All right. The more honors to them who have been laboring in faith and in truth and the word and doctrine. All right. Shalom and peace and safety to the brothers out there pushing this truth for the four corners. All right. Until the Lord seals his elect. All right. Now, I just pushed the button and I seen this online and let's see where the spirit takes me. Lord willing, straight to the point, edifying. It says China stirs up 26 financial institutions to digital Yang cross-border payment platform. All right. This is what they're trying to do. All right. They're trying to get this digital currency out. Everything's going digital now. All right. The paper is going away. As you know, if you don't know, the pennies are going. All right. Just like COVID-19 during that time, they didn't want to use paper money or coins because it's considered dirty. All right. So they're trying to have things go digital now. All right. That's just a means to an end because they ultimately want MOTB. All right. But they have to do this thing in stages and phases, incrementally. All right. Gradually, as you will. So it says financial institutions to digital, signs up 26 financial institutions to digital Yang cross-border payment platform. All right. So this is going to be China has a payment platform where you scan your phone and to buy things. They don't do like pretty much money is obsolete. Money is gone away with pretty much in China. Everything's digital. So you want to buy a watermelon off the street, you scan it digitally on your phone. All right, this place already has things set up already for the MOTB. All right, I believe this is what the Beast talks about, and like the dragon. China worships the dragon. All right, so my point is like this China has a big to do play in the market of Beast. All right, because they're already ahead of everybody in technology. Right, so like right now, for example, let me prove that too. China can China can turn off your if you don't want to comply with the law, right? If you don't want to comply with the law, then they can turn off your credits on your phone, your money on your phone, and have you not they cause you not to buy anything. So if you acting up, they have something called a credit system. If you jaywalk, they give you a penalty and they send it to your phone. All right, because they have everything on camera. So if you decide one day you're not gonna take this mark, all right, well you won't be able to buy or sell because they can cut access. They can cut your supply off to money through the phone. All right, so because they control the phone. All right, so this is ultimate control. All right. In China, there's strict control in China. But let me back myself up. It says I said, does China worship the dragon? It's AI says yes. The Chinese worship dragons. All right, they do. They worship dragons. All right. So this is like a place where Satan's at. All right. This is Satan's seat. His throne is over here in China. He rules on all these people. All right, in darkness. This is actually Mob. Yeah, Mob was one of the people. The Asians was one of the people who was partook in Sodom and Gomorrah. This is one of the nations that got destroyed. Was the Moabites. All right, let me see if I get that real quick. Here it is. The Moabites originated from the destruction of Sodom through Lot of his daughters. You see, they came through the destruction of Sodom through Lot and his daughters. So these people were born out of what do you call it? Incest. All right, that's why they look like each other. That's why the Chinese look like the Japanese, and they all look like each other because they were born. They had sex. All right, with their own people. All right, so they were born out of that like they were born out of incest, right? So yeah, the daughter's plan, believing no other men were left on earth to preserve their family. The older daughter plotted to make Lot drink wine and slept with him, birthed the Moab. The older daughter had a son and named him Moab. Explicitly, Genesis 19:37 explicitly states that Moab is the father of the Moabites, and to this day, you see. So this was already, they were already born in sin and wickedness. So that's why they look like. You ever wonder why Chinese people look like other Chinese people? Because they were born in incest. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to the article. All right, so China signs up 26 institutions to digital yang cross-border payments. So they have absolute control over their citizens. It says agreement integrated cross-border payments. So you're going to be able to do cross-border payments. So meaning that you're going to be able to buy things outside the border with the yang. That's why they're trying to get everybody on board so it could be one currency. All right, China's going to try to dominate this world, and that's going to, this leads to the new world order. All right, cross-border payments, cross-border settlement payments that supports round-the-clock digital payments, like with foreign certain central banks and overseas financial institutions. You see, so they're trying to expand this thing. All right. Fintech is fundamentally reshaped the undefined logic of cross-border payments and providing new momentum and pathways to them. Okay. Efficient, convenient, and compliant cross-border payment experience will further enhance international use of the yen. So this thing is efficient, convenient, and compliant because everybody wants to use it. Everybody wants to mess with China. They have resources. It's efficient, convenient, so it's easy. Because I'm not gonna lie, going to the store using the phone is pretty easy than pulling out cash or having money on hand. It's easier. All right. It says Standard Chartered Bank said it is one of the first foreign banks to sign the joint CBETC. All right. All right, so they got foreign banks signing this. China's central bank is making a broad push to increase the use of the digital yuan at home and abroad, several industries. So they're trying to push this thing. You see, they're trying to make it like this, the digital Silk Road. They're trying to have this place spread because they don't want to rely on America for the dollar. That's how they get the power. So once China has everybody else around on board on the digital yuan, then the dollar bill won't be effective no more. So then America has to adapt to going digital because they have to keep up in the game. All right, it's like in the music industry, you have people making physical records, but once consumers are not buyers and not using they're not going to the stores no more and buying physical copies. They're going online and they're streaming things off digital platforms like Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music. Then the industry takes a hit. The physical industry takes it. Now there's no more physical copies, so they have to either you adjust or you come up with a better plan. So America doesn't have any plan right now, so because they're in a war. So they're gonna just want to adapting it and adopting it and try to beat China out in their own game. All right, and that's what I believe is gonna happen because that's why the 5G rolled out so quick because China already had 5G and they were lacking behind. So they're ultimately trying to here in America, ultimately trying to keep up with China. All right, because Esau don't know nothing about no technology. All right, China is the one leading this world in technology. All right, Taiwan is where they get their semiconductors. That's why there was a fight in the Red Sea over China. I mean, U.S. and Taiwan because they're fighting over semiconductors to see who could win the digital race. All right, but China's far ahead of them. All right, it says China's central bank is making a broad push to increase the use of digital yuan at home and abroad because America's too busy spending their money on funding Israel and wars, while China is not in the wars. They're behind the scenes constantly trying to grow their economy and put in new technology. All right, but we're spending it on ammo and guns and stuff. It says China's central bank is making a broad push to increase digital yuan at home and abroad, several industries. Right? It says setting Beijing on a different and potentially competing. You see, because Beijing's gonna be different. They're gonna be you're not gonna be able to compete with this monster. All right, this beast. All right. It says path to the United States is shaping the future of the money. See, this place is gonna shape the future. All right. It says China granted approval to dozen additional banks to handle its yuan in March, sources told Reuters, and Beijing pushes to accelerate the use of the digital yuan. This thing's going to accelerate, all right? And that means that this MOTB is coming quickly, all right? All right, they're doing it in stages and phases, all right? This was June 16, 2026. This was last month. So, they're letting you know that China is still trying to push this digital yuan. Everyone's using it. The more people use it, and adopt it, then the more the quicker it can be. This thing can get kicked off. This MOTB, like the more because it has to be digital. MOTB is digital. It's a digital chip. All right, as I showed you. Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw the beast rise up out of the sea. All right, this is this nation, like this beast, that's going to cause everybody to take this thing is rising up out of the sea. All right, it's rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. Right, this is going to be this is going to be those nations, United Nations. These nations are going to be tied together. China's not going to be the only one involved in MOTB. It's going to be all of the rest of these nations. All right. Because I see it, that China is rising up out of the sea. All right, this is the same place that supposedly had COVID-19 and was a lot of people dying and the economy was falling. But no, this place is healed and is thriving and booming right now. All right. The beast which I saw like unto a leopard, and his feet were as feet of a bear. The leopard is Iran. All right, his feet was like a feet of the bear because that's going to be Russia. Russia is the bear. All right, so they're teaming up. It says Iran and Russia. It says, and his mouth as a mouth of a lion. Right, and the great dragon gave him power and his authority. Power in his seat and great authority. That's China. That's China, the dragon. All right, because they're gonna be the ones backing everything. They are the power. They're they're the biggest country in the world almost, and they have all the resources. Right, most things are made in China. All right, it says I saw of his head as it were wounded. Right, because of COVID-19, we thought China was through to death, and there were a lot of people dying in China. It says his deadly wound was healed, and now the economy is booming. It says all the world wondered after the beast. All right. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. So China is going to be worshipped. All right. They worship the beast, saying who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. Right. It's going to be this big global system. All right. It's going to be this big system. No one's going to be able to go against this alliance. All right. So repent. And this thing is coming quick, man. This things is gearing up. People are starting to comply more. The more they comply, more they use this digital currency. Then even wallet pay, even using your wallet, that's digital. So the more they use digital and buy things digital online, the quicker this new world order and this MOTB is gonna come. All right. So, but um, watch and be sober. Watch. First Thessalonians 5:16. Therefore let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. Right? Don't be sleep. Don't be ignoring these news articles, and don't be going don't not turning your TV to look at the news or search for the news, because the news is what keeps us alert. The news is what keeps up when the things is happening. So you must watch the news. So let us not be sleep. Don't just ignore the news articles. All right. It says as others do, because others do. And some people is not watching the news. They're not looking at the news. They're not watching, trying to stay updated with what's going on. But matter of fact, start verse 5. It says, "You are children of the light and children of the day. We are not of the night or nor darkness." Right. Lest you let us not be sleeping as others do, but let us be watching, be sober. So we're supposed to be watching and be sober. Right. It says, "For they are sleep in the night, and they that drunk are drunken in the night." But verse 8, "But let us who are the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and of the helmet of the hope of salvation," right? Because we have to watch and be sober, because this tells us when, the time is coming, all right? When things start to happen, that it's close, all right? So we must watch and be sober, all right? Do not be ignorant of Satan devices, and don't neglect looking at these news articles, all right? I know I'm a victim sometime, not using my phone for search other things, but news articles, watching the news is a must. All right, that should be mandatory. Throughout the day, keeping up what's going on, because if we don't, we're gonna be caught in darkness. All right, it's coming. The day is coming. All right. Matter of fact, First Thessalonians 5:2. I should have started there. "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall see, it's going to come as a thief in the night, but not to us." Because if you watch if you're sober and watch, if you're soberly watching, it's not going to come as a thief. Because as I'm showing you that, the day is coming, you can see it spiritually. You can see it, and it's manifest, and it's made manifest. You can see it. It's plain. All right. Unless you're drunk. All right. The Bible says, but basically, you got to be drunk to not see this. It says, "For yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. But when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as a travail upon a woman with a child, and they shall not escape." All right, so they're not gonna know until destruction hits, but we're gonna know, because we're gonna continue to AGMS. We're gonna continue to watch and be sober. All right, and stay updated. All right, and I'm not gonna lie, I gotta stay more updated. Start with myself. I gotta watch more videos, more news. Watch the news more. Be better. Be better at watching the news. Be better at going on my phone, clicking news articles, reading news articles, staying diligent, because that's one of the qualities of elect. And hopefully, Lord willing, I'm part of elect, and I want to be part of that 144,000. So I gotta be better at being diligent and looking at news articles, starting with myself, all right, and reading them and watching the news. So with that being said, shalom, all right, and I'll catch you in the next one.